Stop drinking. This is ridiculous. You're coming up every day.
Welcome back to the Back and Forth podcast with Joey Gallegos and Matt Rafferty here. And today we're talking about the Anthony Davis sweepstakes. Seems inevitable he's going to end up being a Los Angeles Laker. But his agent, Rich Paul, has been very vocal in the past few days here. Well, the lights. I think we're good though. His agent's been very vocal in the past few days here talking about the Celtics. He recently did an interview with Sports Illustrated. It seemed like Boston was going to get him because they could put together the best trade package, but Danny Ainge, the Celtics general manager, was a little bit hesitant. You know, he didn't want to give up his whole future for Anthony Davis, which would include Jason Tatum, Marcus Smart, and multiple first round picks just for Anthony Davis to leave the following year. And Rich Paul kind of confirmed that's exactly what Anthony Davis's intentions were with his interview with Sports Illustrated. He said basically that if the Celtics were to go out and trade for Anthony Davis, he would be leaving. They would play and follow the rules of the contract that season with Boston, and then once free agency came, he'd be focused on free agency, and it'd be for 1 year, and he would basically be out the door. He's focused on the Knicks and the Lakers are his intentions. And what I do not get is Doc Rivers, former president of basketball operations of the Clippers, and is now the full-time head coach of the Clippers. He came out the other day and said they asked him about Kawhi Leonard. They're like, "What do you think of Kawhi Leonard?" His response was, "Kawhi Leonard's a great player. Was fined $50,000 for the NBA's tampering policy." LeBron, all through the year, says, "I want to play with Anthony Davis," which is clearly tampering, and gets a warning. You have Rich Paul now doing this, and no punishment at all. That's what I have trouble understanding. But Matt, all that aside, we'll start with this first. What are your feelings on Anthony Davis's representation, Rich Paul, and you think that he's going to affect him?
I believe Anthony Davis needs to fire Rich Paul immediately, especially after what came out today. Because the look that I've got now with Anthony Davis and that whole situation is, it's not Anthony Davis, it's Rich Paul. It's just basically Rich Paul talking for Anthony Davis. Because we haven't actually really heard what Anthony Davis himself wants.
Yeah.
It's just been Rich Paul, Rich Paul, Rich Paul, Rich Paul.
What Rich Paul wants.
Yeah. So if I'm Anthony Davis, I'm like, and especially this getting leaked, I'm looking at Rich Paul and I'm saying, you're fired.
I feel Rich Paul cares more about setting up LeBron than to get Anthony Davis. It just seemed like this thing was done. That's why Rich Paul didn't go on and get Anthony Davis to get him as a client. He went out and got Anthony Davis so he could bring him to the Lakers.
Yes. But no.
I feel like if any other agent did that with another player, there'd be a huge problem. But since it's LeBron, the NBA's like, eh.
Yeah.
Which makes sense at the same time, because if the NBA punishes LeBron, there go your ratings.
Right. But now, to get back to your point, I do think he needs to fire Rich Paul. That's first and foremost. Second off, I think, and this would be a really big move on Anthony Davis's part, he needs to have a sit-down talk with David Griffin. Just him and David Griffin. Nobody else in the room. No Rich Paul. Nobody else. Just those two sit in a room and talk this one out and see what Anthony Davis truly wants.
I fully believe, again, it's inevitable he's going to end up with the Lakers, at least whether it's, a couple months, a month, but I think it's going to be probably by the NBA draft. But yet again, I think he does need to give Nola another chance. They have the number one pick. They have new ownership. They have a solid coach in Alvin there. They also have Jrue Holiday still in place. They have a little money where they can make some moves this offseason. They have some assets where they can facilitate a potential trade. I think he needs to stay in New Orleans till the deadline. I think whether Rich Paul is his agent or not, I think that's what Anthony Davis should. I can't make decisions for Anthony Davis. It seems like his mind's already made up. But he should say, hey, let's wait to the deadline. Let's see how this team does. We have Zion Williamson. You have me. If Zion plays how the way it's supposed to be, a front court of me and Zion Williamson could be absolutely terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely terrifying in the NBA.
100% agree with you.
Jrue Hall, even if they don't even go on and get, let's just say they don't, go on and get another superstar caliber player or whatnot. Okafor off the bench, Christian Wood off the bench, Julius Randle can play the small forward spot potentially, maybe. Who knows? Probably not. You have each one more a lights out 3-point shooter. Drew Holiday, who's a provenly good point guard. You have Alfred Payton. Well, Drew Holiday can also is a combo guard, is what I meant. Drew Holiday is a combo guard. He can play the 1 and the 2. Good shooter, can also be a very good point guard. Alfred Payton, pass first point guard to distributor. Zion and Anthony Davis. That could be a very solid team. You could also, bring the point up to David Griffin, the president of basketball operations, like, hey, we should make some moves here, try to upgrade the roster a little bit. Wait to the deadline and then assess. Because what if he stays and the Pelicans are 38-20 at the trade deadline?
Yeah, I don't think you trade him away.
I don't think you'd want to leave.
No. And I do 100% agree with you. His best move for his career would be stay in New Orleans, test it out. If you still don't like it at the trade deadline, okay, no harm, no foul. You gave it a try, and that's fair enough. I also want to hit on your tampering point. If I'm the NBA, and it seems like Adam Silver,
they won't though.
They won't.
I know what you're saying, but they won't.
But in a perfect world, Rich Paul would be hit with $100,000 fine right this second, because they gave Doc Rivers $50,000 for just saying Kawhi's a good player. Rich Paul, outside of saying my client wants to be a Los Angeles Laker and LeBron is the best player in the world, is tampering. I mean, come on. If you say Doc Rivers was tampering, oh Lord, Rich Paul is he's been messing with those wires.
He knew the rules. But where do you think realistically? Again, I think it's just inevitable at this point, unless the Knicks put together a monster trade package, which I don't think they're capable of doing. I think it's going to be the Lakers. I think if Boston's pulling out, I think New Orleans can't have this grudge. I don't think David Griffin has a grudge. It's more the ownership, but they can't have this grudge or whatever against the Lakers. If it's not the Celtics, the Lakers can give up the most. Kyle Kuzma and Rob Pelinka would sell the farm. If David Griffin puts his foot down, Rob Pelinka would 100% sell the farm.
Yeah.
Kyle Kuzma, Brandon Ingram, Lonzo Ball, whatever you want. Pick and choose. The 4th pick.
I think
Mortez Wagner.
Well, I think if you're
get all those guys.
I think if you're David Griffin, you start with that and you ask for more. You got
you ever seen Draft Day? The movie Draft Day?
Bits and pieces, yeah.
NFL. He trades. So for people who don't know or haven't seen the movie, I'll quickly sum it up. He trades for the first pick. The beginning of the day, the beginning of draft day, he trades for the first pick. Which how he traded 3 future first round picks. Okay, then while holding the first pick while the draft's going on, he trades for the 6th pick and he trades 3 future seconds for the 6th pick. Okay. Then he wants to get the 7th pick because the first pick he ended up drafting, he didn't draft the quarterback, he drafted some linebacker. This is just a movie, but he drafted the linebacker. So how he got the 7th pick to draft the guy he wanted all along, he told Seattle, give me my first 3 picks back. And then they're like, okay, fine. And then he's like, you know what? I want David Putney. And it was like a special teams player. And David Putney, he's like, he just kept asking for more basically. And I think that's kind of, people probably didn't understand at all what I just said, but if they saw the movie, they'd probably get it a little bit. I think that's what David Griffin needs to do. Just be like, okay, I want this. Be like, wait, I want a little more. So I think that's what the Pelicans have to do in this situation to get what they want from this deal.
Yeah, I think you, like you said, realistically, probably going to end up with the Lakers, especially with Rich Paul's little hand in the cookie jar here. He's
Saved by the Bell.
Yeah. Excuse our sound effects producer over here, Lucius. He's feeling extra special today. Anyways, I think like you nailed it on the head. Lakers will clean out house. They will basically give everybody away except LeBron. I don't think you would want to give LeBron.
If I was Rob Pelinka, we were talking about this earlier.
Oh yeah.
If I was Rob Pelinka, I would just trade LeBron the 4th pick and a young player for
just so that Rich
Paul would just be like,
just so he doesn't get what he wants. So then he still has a player in New Orleans and LA.
That would be amazing. I would laugh. So Rich Paul would be absolutely furious. Like, well, we trade you to LA, so
I wonder if that's the day he just quits.
Yeah. But so any more comments on Anthony Davis?
No, we'll just have to wait to see how it plays out.
We'll definitely have an episode on where he gets traded.
Sure. We will have that.
Which will probably be in the coming days, actually. Yes. It could happen any second, really.
Right.
Yeah, right here. Davis got traded to the Pistons. No, I'm kidding.
But
That would be funny.
We will have an episode on the updated Anthony Davis situation after the trade. We will give you a full breakdown of a free agency episode, all that. You know we got a lot of content coming for you guys. Please watch, subscribe, like,
Appreciate you guys
comment, share, whatever you got to do. We really appreciate your listens. And this is the Back and Forth Podcast. Anything else?
That's it.
All right.